finding work in television or in features in this industry, you don't go to Craigslist or to a job listing. It's all through networking. It's all through who you know, how you keep up with them, how they remember you, and just the connections you make. And the most important thing to remember is it's not just the producer or the actor. It could be the stunt coordinator. It could be the stand-in. It could be the makeup artist. It's, whoever you impact, those people are always working, and you never know who they have the ear to. So it's something to really remember is that when you're working on a set, you never know where your next job's coming from. So you always have to operate no matter where. It's kind of like a continual job interview. So when I graduated from the DGA training program, the Directors Guild of America training program, I went to work on CSI. And I had a kind of unique experience in that I stayed on CSI Miami for 7 years, I believe. In the first 3 years, I worked as a second assistant director, and then I moved up to second assistant director, and then I moved up to first assistant director. So I stayed in one place and moved up. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, get one job, work as a second, that show ends, they go somewhere else. But because of the longevity of the CSI franchise and where I was and the support and kind of promote from within mindset on the show, I was able to move up. So I was really blessed in that, but also it's difficult because I was only on one show. And if you remember what I said about networking, if you're not working on different shows and involved with different people, you're not building your network base, and therefore it's difficult to get work. And that's something that I found at the end of my time at CSI Miami. Even though I was a first assistant director on a hit show, which people don't remember really anymore now because they're thinking about Empire or something else, I didn't have as many contacts. So when I left CSI Miami, I had a little bit of a hard time trying to find other jobs. But through networking, spending time at the Directors Guild of America, going to meetings, talking to friends, going to other sets, sometimes working below my level. So like I was a first assistant director, but sometimes somebody would call me and say, hey, would you come and just be a second for the day? I would do that to meet other people and let them know, hey, I'm a first assistant director. I'm working this way because I want to, but really it was to network. And ultimately, I met a producer named Jim Cleaver Weiss who was producing a show called Body of Proof in Providence, Rhode Island. So I interviewed with him, and my references and our interaction was positive, so he hired me, and I moved to Rhode Island after that, and worked in Rhode Island for a year, and then came back and worked on Body of Proof here for a year. And then I really decided I was done with the morgue, because if you know Body of Proof, it was in the morgue, and also CSI Miami was in the morgue, and there was a lot of dead people and body parts and blood, and I was done with that. I love comedy, and that's really what I wanted to do. I'd heard about this show called The Mindy Project that was starting up, and one of the line producers I'd worked with when I was a DGA trainee was on the show, so I called her to interview, and I had a great interview, and also the other assistant director, because there's usually two assistant directors first assistant directors on every show because they rotate. The other assistant director I had worked with on CSI when I was a trainee, and he knew I was a first. And so he also recommended me for the job, never having worked with me as a first AD, but knowing my skills from 5 years ago. And so I had the opportunity to work the first 2 seasons of the Mindy Project, which was phenomenal, and work with Mindy. And I mean, that was something that was really important to me, to work as a woman of color, to work with a woman of color, doing her own show. I was like, this is going to be amazing. So last year, at the end of the Mindy Project, I also decided I want to start directing. So that was one of the things that I talked to Mindy about. Well, there wasn't really opportunity for me there. My friend Heidi, who I'd worked with on Body of Proof, was starting a new show, and it was called Blackish, and she really wanted me to come work on that show. So I went and interviewed with them, and one of the things I said to them was like, I really want to direct, and please keep that in mind. If I make this jump from the Mindy Project to you, I would like to be considered for a directing position at some point. and they were really open to it. And after hearing about the show, I was like, this looks like a great show and something I want to be a part of. So I said goodbye to Mindy, and I moved over to Blackish, and that's kind of how I'm here now. And I have to say, like, when I did my application for the DGA training program, one of the things they ask is, like, what's your future goal in this industry? And my goal was to be the best first assistant director I could be and to be sought after. And that's kind of what you have to do. You have to start building these relationships with people so that they want you to come and do their projects. And then you get to choose. I'm not there yet, but that's where I'm going.